Thanks everybody for joining today's session for a quick but hopefully powerful session on how Synergist can help agencies like yours take the guesswork out of business development and forecasting. For those of you who don't know me or haven't joined a previous session, I'm Steve and I've been working closely with agencies for the last 20 odd years to help them unlock better visibility, gain smarter forecasting and hopefully more profitable growth. Now, before we start, some of you may have noticed we're actually delivering 2 forecasting webinars over the next week. Today's session will shamelessly be focused on how Synergist can give you the tools to manage new business capacity and revenue forecasting, while next week's agency master session will be looking at a more general view of why accurate forecasting matters, how to properly forecast existing client revenue, how to plan new business, the disciplines you need to deliver on those numbers, and then also what to do if and when things change. So hopefully you can join us for both of them. Now, if you've ever found yourself buried in endless spreadsheets, sitting through long and tedious forecasting meetings, or just feeling like there's too much guesswork in your pipeline, then hopefully you're in the right place. Over the next 15 minutes or so, I'll walk you through how Synergist helps agencies confidently track new business, move opportunities forward, and forecast pipeline and capacity more accurately. I'll also show you a quick demo of some of the key features in action. However, before we start, for those who don't know what Synergist is or haven't heard of it, then Synergist is the #1 agency management software trusted by over 500 agencies across the UK. And since 2003, we've been dedicated to creating a platform specifically designed for agencies like yours. It's highly customizable, making it a perfect fit whether you're a creative agency, digital marketing, PR agency, or any other professional service business. So why do so many agencies choose Synergist? Typically, and this might be true for a lot of you guys, is that agencies often find themselves juggling multiple systems, whether that be spreadsheets for budgets, separate tools for briefs, sales pipelines, resourcing, project tracking, invoicing. It's all really time-consuming, disjointed, and makes it hard to get a clear view of what's really going on across your business. So that's where Synergist comes in. It can replace all those disparate systems and brings everything together in one place, from the initial brief, sales opportunity, right the way through to project delivery and invoicing, giving you hopefully a seamless joined up workflow. But it's not just about saving time, it's about creating transparency, boosting efficiency, and hopefully driving profitability. Now, before we jump into the Synergist system, I've picked out 3 areas or 3 challenges where I think forecasting kind of falls into. So I'm going to cover these each at a time during the session. The first one is opportunity management. So for many agencies, managing new business is a constant challenge. We know that. Leads often tracked across spreadsheets, in separate CRMs, email threads. It makes it easy for things to slip through the cracks. So without a clear view of your pipeline or structured follow-ups, deals stall, forecasting becomes guesswork, and growth opportunities are missed. When it comes to revenue and capacity forecasting, accurate forecasting we know is difficult with a lot of agencies. Revenue projections are often disconnected from actual delivery, and resourcing is managed in isolation. This can create blind spots, teams get overloaded, projects run late, and revenues fall short. So without a clear picture of what's coming in and who's available to deliver it, agencies can risk missed targets and overworked teams. And finally, when it comes to performance reporting, a lot of agencies rely on manual reports that are outdated by the time they've been shared. Tracking things like sales targets, profitability, utilization can become time-consuming and reactive. So without real-time insights, you can struggle to spot trends, course correct early, and make confident data decisions. Right. So now we've covered that, let's now take a look at a few ways in which Synergist can make all of this, hopefully, much more simple and efficient. So I'm just going to, for this part, switch over. I'm just going to turn my camera off so you can see my screen better. Okay. So hopefully now you'll be able to see my desktop. Okay, so we're going to take you through some of the areas or some of the functionality, sorry, in Synergist that will help you manage the areas we've just covered. So in Synergist, all of your new business and client opportunities can live in one place. So you can track every deal, add notes, and set actions to keep things moving. So no more lost leads or forgotten follow-ups. So let's now have a look at how you can forecast your pipeline. I've chosen the opportunity list in Synergist. So here, every opportunity has a status and a probability weighting, meaning that you can see your projected revenue based on real data. The pipeline report gives you an overview of total potential revenue in different stages, helping you predict upcoming sales more accurately. This means no more guesswork, just data-driven sales forecasting. You can also filter these opportunities by things like whoever the owner is or the due date. Apologies, I was looking at the wrong screen there. I've shown you. It just proves that this is a live overview. So this is the screen that I was meant to be on. So sorry, this is your opportunity screen. So this is the one, we'll look at the job list in a second. So in this one, this is what we'll use to forecast our pipeline. And this will make more sense now. We can group this by things like pipeline status, expected close date, percentage chance of winning it, value, etc. What we can also do though is start to forecast not only your sales pipeline, but also your capacity as well. Because if we're using Synergist to start to build our budgets and our internal estimates, then I can see here, if we were to land any of these top forecasted or top rated opportunities, what is the number of hours we would be required to deliver if those jobs landed? And then therefore we can look and say, in which case, do we have the capacity to deliver that work in the time it's going to be required? You can also create opportunities really simply as well. So opportunities can be created from scratch or using a template. And if we look at an opportunity, we can also start to record things like industry and source to help track where leads are coming from. And once saved, this opportunity is now visible to your entire team, ensuring that everybody stays aligned. It's also worth noting, because we do come across this with some agencies, that Synergist does support both HubSpot and Salesforce integration. So if you needed to keep one of those platforms to manage perhaps your inbound, outbound marketing or top of funnel process, then you can bring the deal or opportunity across at the appropriate time. And you can also see that same opportunity view in your sales dashboard. So rather than looking at a list and the data of the opportunities, you might want to have that visualized. So that same data can now be seen. So I can see how much we have quoted in the pipeline stage of first brief and scoping, all the way down to what's awaiting decision. All of these pipeline stages are customizable to be whatever you need them to be. And we have the option to filter these again by client or for new business, and look at them based on these different metrics too. Okay, so whilst winning new business is often a key focus, we know that, the key to sustainable profitability is typically maximizing revenue and managing capacity really effectively. So we know that agencies often struggle with things like knowing if you have the capacity to take on more work, or accurately forecasting billing and revenue for upcoming months, and ensuring that your team is fully utilized without being overworked. This is often down to a number of things. One is lack of visibility, so it's hard to predict who's available and when projects will be billed. Revenue uncertainty, so you may have a strong pipeline, but no clear view of expected revenue. Or you might just have simple resource bottlenecks. So some teams might be overloaded, while others have underutilized capacity, leading to inefficiencies. So hopefully Synergist can eliminate those pains by giving you real-time accurate data of your team's availability, expected revenue, and billing plans all in one place. So let's look at team capacity. Who's busy, who's underutilized, and whether you need to hire or rebalance workloads. So here I've chosen to look at the resource booking tool, and I've defaulted it to the loading view. And here you can see that we can look at this availability across different teams, different resources, different individuals. So we can see who's booked on project, who has availability, and traffic managers can then adjust workload assignments to balance the team. And with this view, you can instantly spot gaps of where you've got capacity and make proactive decisions about resourcing rather than reacting when it's too late. So in my example here, green means that we have capacity in Kate's diary, amber means that Jay is fully booked, and red means we have more work booked than our hours in that period. This view can also be seen on the dashboard view. So we can switch that now. And here I have a capacity view, and I'm going to look at that over a 5-day period, and I want to look at that for next week. So what this is now showing me visually is how many hours we have required or how many hours we've sold. Of those hours, how many have we booked into the calendar, the percentage booked. We can incorporate people who are on holiday, so it reduces capacity to give us a final total of how many hours we have available forecasted for next week or whatever period you choose to look at. That can also be viewed at a resource level or at a team level. Okay. Right, now let's move to forecasting of billing and knowing when and how much revenue will be invoiced. For this, I'm going to go back to the screen that I started on, which I shouldn't have started on, which is your job list view. Now, in here, we can see when invoices have been scheduled and their expected values. And if anything changes, so I'll just switch to the billing plan view. If anything changes, then Synergist automatically updates that and it'll give you a live revenue forecast instantly. Billing statuses updates also help your finance team because they can track cash flow, which ensures that they always have a clear picture of upcoming revenue and can manage cash flow more effectively. This also can be seen. So here you can see that we've got a summary of what was due to be billed, and we can see what's been billed in prior periods and what's due to be billed in future periods. But we can also see a similar view in your management dashboard where we have this invoice forecast. So again, we can see what's been planned to be billed against what actually has been billed. Again, current month, but also for future months too. Finally, in this section, let's talk about total revenue forecasting. So how much income or profit your agency is expecting over the next 3 to 6 months. Now, for this example, I wanted to demonstrate how you can create your own custom forecast dashboards. So moving away from the standard dashboards into our data analytics, I've created a number of reports, which I've decided to I can give them my own name and I can have them stored and presented in my own dashboard. For this report, I'm going to use this GP forecast report. And as you can see, this report can be created either as a table or a chart or both. And in this report, I've asked it to show me what's my projected gross profit over a 3-month period by client. But again, you can filter this by job type, by client, by team, by department, and that will present in your dashboard. They can also be filtered by the usual stuff, so client, project, and you also might want to forecast this based on probability weightings. So perhaps this report will look at, or could be compared by 50% committed versus what's perhaps being more confirmed. Okay, for the third section, we're going to look at reporting. And for this, I'm going to go back to our sales dashboard. So performance reporting isn't just about looking back. Synergist gives agency the tools to understand how today's performance can impact tomorrow's revenue, capacity, and profitability. So that's what turns simple reporting into more forecasting. So Synergist has a lot of options for accessing this data. One of them, and one of the reports I want to look at today, is your sales versus targets. So we can see in this section here, we've got a kind of a real-time dashboard which compares your actual sales versus your targets. Now, when it comes to targets, they can be set up by person, by account manager, by client, or for the overall agency. And this helps you track new business performance while also forecasting future revenue. You can hopefully spot underperformance early and you may need to adjust targets, or you may need to refocus your efforts. And again, this is something that I'll probably dig into a little bit deeper on the Agency Masters session next week. Other reports that you might find useful that can also impact on future forecasting are things like client profitability, because that can highlight which clients are profitable and which aren't, as that data then feeds into future forecasts. So if a client is consistently unprofitable, it may change how you forecast revenue or plan capacity, and that drives hopefully better commercial decisions, or where best to kind of allocate resources, or you may need to sort of renegotiate fees. Jumping around dashboards now. The next dashboard I want to look at, which will help with forecasting, is your current utilization rates and reviewing how well your team is performing against your billable targets. Now, if we compare current utilization reports alongside perhaps your capacity forecasts, you can use that insight to forecast whether you'll be hitting revenue targets based on booked capacity versus availability. You can also spot risks. So underutilization means missed revenue, whereas overutilization risks burnout. You might also, jumping back to my data analytics dashboard, you might want to look at that as well in a different way. If we look at it by capacity, then again, I might look at that based as well on what's projected in our capacity forecast. And in this example here, I've chosen to look at it by type of resource. So it's going to show me where we have availability and capacity issues in the future. Other reports which I think would be useful, which I won't go through in today's session because we haven't got time, things like revenue recognition and work in progress reporting. So looking at what's been delivered, but perhaps not been invoiced, as that then can connect your current performance to future billing forecasts and helps avoid revenue shortfalls. It's also good for trend analysis and scenario planning, as pulling reports from the last 6 months and using past performance can help to project future revenue and resourcing needs. So for example, if revenue is trending up or down, you may need to adjust your forecasts accordingly. Okay, that brings us to the end of our very kind of brief view in terms of what Synergist is doing, or what Synergist has available for you in terms of forecasting. If you're looking for a better way to track new business or forecast pipeline or hit targets, then obviously let us know. If you simply like just to explore how Synergist can fit into your agency workflow, please go ahead and book a demo, as we'd love to have a chat about any specific challenge you might have and show you how you can use Synergist to hopefully work a bit smarter. As I mentioned, we have our Agency Masters webinar next Thursday. Details of that can be found on our website. But if you do have any questions or do want to dig a bit deeper into anything that Synergist can offer, then please do feel free to reach out or connect with us on LinkedIn. And on our website, you can also check out our upcoming webinars and our YouTube resources for many more insights. Thanks once again for your time this morning and joining me. Apologies for the mix-up at the start of the session where we looked at the wrong screen, but hopefully we can speak soon and have a great day.